Good day, awesome YouTubers. It is Lyman16 here again for another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. And today in this discussion video, I wanted to bring up something that happened recently in the Dragon Ball community, and that's basically what we're going to discuss today is the Saiyan hair from Dragon Ball Super episode 69. There's a couple of points I wanted to share in this video, and then I'm going to get into the crux of the whole issue. So what's the problem? Well, in episode 69 of Dragon Ball Super, Goku is a security guard. He's a part-time security guard in this filler-esque, and I don't really want to use filler, but we're going to use it anyway, this filler-esque kind of comedic, however you want to call it, gag episode. Anyway, Goku slicks back his hair because he is demanded by Chi-Chi to be a security guard. So he does this. He slicks back his hair and becomes a security guard. Now, if you guys remember in the Cell arc of Dragon Ball Z, and specifically I'm talking about the Funimation dub of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta says a line in the 10-day waiting period before the Cell games. He says to Bulma that essentially a Saiyan hair cannot change from the day we are born. And he's talking about pure-blooded Saiyans, like he's talking about him and Goku, not specifically Trunks or Gohan, because they can change, they are Saiyan hybrids. But he says this and kind of ignoring the Team 4-Star reference where they say, you know, it's the same thing, but with the exception of beards and mustaches. That's really funny. Vegeta says this, and there's been contradictions to this. One perfect example that I can think of right off the bat is Napa. Napa had hair when he was younger, at least in the TV special, and later on when you see him in the Saiyan arc, he does not have hair. So what happened there? We never know. Maybe that's an inconsistency. I don't know. There's always been inconsistencies in Dragon Ball, and you really can't do anything about it. So Napa has hair, and also another thing I wanted to bring up is Vegeta in GT. Now, a lot of you people don't necessarily think that GT is, at least now, is not quote-unquote canon. I don't really like to use that term because there's so many different quote-unquote canons and things, you know. But essentially, Vegeta does not have the same hair. I mean, it is, but it's shorter. His widow's peak is there, and his spiky hair is, you know, somewhat there, but it's cut shorter. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Vegeta was designed, at least the early style of Vegeta and other GT characters were actually designed by Toriyama, not by the Toei staff that wrote the whole show of GT, nor was it by Takao Koyama. So, Vegeta was actually designed by Toriyama, interestingly enough. And again, there's been contradictions to this, but the main crux of the issue is, does a Saiyan hair ever change? And what I gotta say to that is no. No, it does not. And let me give you the reasons why. Number one, episode 69 was a filler-esque episode anyway, so it's not really supposed to make sense. I mean, heck, Arale kicked Vegeta all the way across the earth, so again, it doesn't have to make any sense whatsoever. But, you know, number two, we're going to talk about Super Saiyan forms. And it doesn't matter what kind of Super Saiyan form you're in, whether it's 1, 2, 3, God, Blue, or 4 if you want to count GT, or heck even like transformations like Kaioken. When you revert to base, your hair always goes back to the way it was, and that's kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about here. A Saiyan's hair can be changed or altered, but it can never be changed or altered permanently. It will always go back to the original natural state, and this makes sense because Goku and Vegeta's hair are basically trademarks, basically. I mean, it's almost like the Mugiwara in One Piece. If you guys watch One Piece, it's basically the straw hat. You cannot change it. It can be temporarily altered, like when Luffy, that one time his hat actually was damaged. There was a hole in it. But it will always go back to its natural state, and that's kind of how it's always going to be, except if there's a huge contradiction, but I kind of don't think that would happen. I think it will still stay the same. So overall, guys, I think that's what's going on. I think people are just over talking this discussion too much, and essentially, a Saiyan's hair, yes, it can be changed, but it can't be changed permanently. Let me know in your comments in the comment section, basically below. Subscribe to LollyMan16. But with all that said, guys, thank you all for watching. Stay awesome, everybody, and have a good one.